Hey guys, it's Jackie from Jack Gets Lost Down a Book Hole, and I decided to film a tag video. Fortunately today got kind of busy. We have family in town the last few weeks, so throughout the day I'm pretty busy. I'm not around them a lot. I don't spend like all my time with them, but like they're leaving tomorrow, so I kind of spent the day with them while my dad was not here. My dad was not here, but they are actually family from Florida, so they came here because of with the whole Hurricane Irma. So they came here to stay with us, and tomorrow they will be on their way back. But first they're going to stop with stop in South Carolina to stay with my aunt for the weekend, and then they'll head back to Florida because thankfully they finally have got their water on and their power on. So it's been, kind of busy. And of course, now that I'm a working girl, I'm pretty, busy, and because I work at the grocery store, so I'm mostly standing all day and I'm tired. But what I'm gonna try to do is get into the habit of just making these videos on days that I'm off. Unless I'm feeling up to it when I get home from work. So I'm going to do the back to school book tag. I am not in school anymore. I graduated community college back in 2014, so like 3 years ago. Unfortunately, unfortunately my biological genes. I'm part Filipino. I have a small part of me that's Filipino, like only a quarter, so it's not a lot. But my mom is half Filipino. My grandmother is full Filipino. So I have a little bit, and that kind of makes me look a lot younger than my actual age implies. So, which is both a good and a bad thing because people assume I'm younger. And sometimes, like, if I want to get a glass of wine or something, or people constantly remind me how great I look because I'm young, which I understand that. But sometimes it gets a little annoying and and I just kind of roll my eyes at the whole, everyone is so shocked when they find out I'm 20 years old and I'll be, 29 this year. And then before you know, I'll be 30. But I will never look at, and again, it's also a positive because, looking young, if you, look young, you're younger than your actual age, and that can be a good thing because, it's something to be grateful for, actually, because you might never look too old. So I'm very conflicted about it. But anyway, I'm still going to do the back to school tag because it seems like a very fun and interesting tag, and it is that time of year. And as always, I don't know off the top of my head who is the original creator, but I will look for the original creator's video and post it when I publish this. Okay, so the first question is starts with Arrival. Which fictional school would you like to go to? I only have read a few books that have fictional schools. So I'm going to say, but the one that has been most prominent, the one I remember, is probably Hogwarts. Come on, everybody, especially if you grow up with those books, who didn't want to go to Hogwarts, School of Witchcraft and Wizardry? You got to learn how to be a witch or a wizard. You got to, there was all these cool classes. You had to learn magic, and it was always such fun, whether you were watching the movies or reading or rereading the books or rewatching the movies. It was so much fun to experience Hogwarts, even and just to imagine yourself getting that letter and that, address to you that says you are a wizard, you are a witch or a wizard, and you need to go and get your school stuff, and your first semester and your school year will start September. I think it was the 21st. Or it might have been September 1st. It's been, I am currently in the middle of a reread, but I've since taken a break and I have not come back to rereading Goblet of Fire yet, but I need to. Fortunately, I got 2 big books from the library because I couldn't resist. Like, I've been wanting to get East of Eden because I remember I love watching Words of a Reader, and she talks about that. She's talked about that book quite a few times, and says it's one of her favorites. So I've been kind of wanting to read them. I've been wanting to read like I read in Mice and Men, I think in middle school. It's been so long. I mean, at that time, I don't think I liked it then, but I think I might like it now now that I'm older. So I want to reread more of Steinbeck's works, and my mom suggested that East of Eden might be at the library, so I decided I may as well check, and I did, and it was there. So I borrowed that one along with Donna Tartt's The Secret History. So that might take me a while to finish. But anyway, I'm sorry once again, I'm getting off on a tangent. Okay, so next question is backpack. Where do you bring your current reads? I have that right here. I actually have a backpack when I go on trips to visit family. A lot of times I bring this backpack because I always end up bringing like 4 books. In fact, I'm already thinking about that now because we're going to be going on a trip soon. So I use this backpack, and this was one of the handful of backpacks I used for school. I've always wanted to get a new one each year, but my mom was like, if it's still perfectly intact, then you're gonna keep it. Because I always love back to school shopping. You know, I am such a nerd. I always got very excited about going back to school, getting finding a notebook that has this cool, colorful design on it, and getting those colored pens, getting all those mechanical pencils and markers, and deciding, and getting the composition books and getting, all that good stuff. I used to love doing that. And then this is my other source. I use this today, actually, because today I went to the library as a return. I borrowed Roar, and I finally finished it early this morning, technically, because it was after 1 a.m. when I finally finished it, because I couldn't go back to sleep, and I was like, you know what, why don't I just go ahead and finish it. So, I was able to return it. Unfortunately, I could not return The Dark Half, which is Stephen King. I'm still reading that. Unfortunately, with his books are always, unless they're one of his short stories, his books are usually pretty long. So I am still reading that one. Like I said, I also got those other 2 books. So I don't know when. I'm gonna probably try to focus more of my attention on The Dark Half. But anyway, this is one of my favorite tote. This is, actually, I think the only tote bag I have. It's always one of my favorites because, it has this fairy on it. It's really cool, which I always thought was really cool. I think this was a gift from one of my best friends back in elementary school or middle school. I mean, either way, it was the same person, but if I'm correct in my assumption. But I love this tote bag, and I usually use it. I've been using it every time I go to the library now. Or I basically put my books in my purse. I always make sure I have a purse big enough to hold like a paperback. At least a paperback book. And my grandma got me or my uncle, the one I'm currently using, my uncle got me one of the name brand purses when he went to Las Vegas to visit. We lived some family down there. He and my grandmother, my Lola, went to Las Vegas, and he got me a nice one of those backpack purses. And that's big enough to hold a small paperback. So that's usually Okay, so question number 3. First class. Which book would you like to take a class in? Um, I have a specific book slash series, but I also have on here an author. I'll mention the book first. I think it would be very interesting to learn to do a study of A Song of Ice and Fire. I mean, they probably will never. Well, maybe in college they might, but I mean, because it has a lot of vulgarity in it, like lots of sex in it, and they love saying the F word, and it's. But it will be such an interesting study, especially since, like, just like Tolkien, George R. R. Martin was. Oh my god! I compared Tolkien. I associate Tolkien and George R. R. Martin together. Oh my god! Just kidding. But just like Tolkien, Martin took a lot of elements from like historical fiction, like from history, like especially the medieval history, like the War of the Roses and stuff, and he based a lot of his characters off of famous figures of that time, like kings and queens and stuff. So I think that would be a very interesting book to study in college. I mean, there's so much you could like look at that and talk about, compare it to history, especially like medieval and Renaissance history. And then, like I said, I also mentioned author on here, and I said it will be very interesting to study Stephen King. I think he's a brilliant horror author. I mean, there's a reason his books are still popular today. I mean, the only reason you don't read his books is if you don't like horror. Although he does not just write horror, he's written some magical realism, and he's written like a few, like at least one that's more about growing up and stuff, and about the human spirit and all that, and friendship. But all of his books contain those elements too. It's just most of them also have horror elements where people are getting killed and stuff and being chased by monsters. And then there's at least 3 I think that are kind of about magical realism. I think maybe 2. It's The Green Mile is one of them, and Shawshank Redemption. I don't know if there's any other ones. I'll have to go through because I haven't read all of them. And there's a few non-horror fantasy related, like The Dark Tower is not a horror, it's more of a supernatural fantasy story. Like one of those grittier fantasies. That reminds me, I was making a list of all my favorite TV shows because I was watching one of the booktubers videos on listing their favorite TV show, and I just remembered, I kind of really like, Winona Earp. I just remember I'll have to put that on my list. But that's a totally different topic. So, like I said, to study Stephen King and his writing style and all the different metaphors and how he looks at women, and how a lot of his books are about women and children, and how the horrors of the world in real life, and it would be kind of like studying like how they have classes on Buffy, which I would also love to take, but unfortunately it's probably only offered like in colleges in California, which kind of is a little unfair. Okay, so that is the answer to number 3. Okay, question number 4, reading list. What book did you read for school that you liked? I remember my junior year of high school, we read The Great Gatsby, and I remember loving that book. I mean, I think I was one of the few people who did, if I'm remembering correctly. But I love the book, and I love the 20s, and I love Gatsby's character, and I can't remember his name. I remembered it yesterday when I was filming another video, but I can't remember it again. It'll probably come to me after I film this, but I love all that aspects in the book. I mean, I hate how it kind of ends on a bittersweet note. Or Nick Carraway. It kind of ends on a very bitter note, but it's still I love the book. And it's an easy read too. It's very quick. And I just reread it recently. I think it might have been last year or earlier this year. I knew it was like when I believe I reread it when we first moved here. So it might have been like a year ago. And I love the movie with starring Leo DiCaprio and Tobey Maguire, the one that Baz Luhrmann directed, the guy who directed Moulin Rouge. I love that movie, and I've heard, and I think they're right. I think that Baz Luhrmann's version is a lot closer to the book than the other movie that was made in the '70s. I think it was made in the '70s, but with Robert Redford and I think it was Faye Dunaway. Or no, it was Mia Farrow. Although it's been so long since I've seen that one. That one, we watched, after we read the book, we watched that version of the movie, because the Baz Luhrmann movie was obviously not out yet. So we watched that one, but I don't remember. It's been so long since I've seen that one, so I don't know, but I think they're right, and I think Baz Luhrmann's movie was a lot closer to the book. But I loved that movie, and I like it, and it was awesome. Okay, okay, question number 5, second class. Which character would you like as a teacher? I can't think. I was trying to avoid going in the Harry Potter direction again, because that's such an obvious answer, but I went ahead and went with Remus Lupin. He seems like such a great teacher. He's very patient with the students, very understanding, and just he's willing to help them in any way he can, but he won't push them too hard. And he has a very calming, soothing demeanor, and I think he would be an awesome teacher in any subject. He has the right disposition. Unfortunately, there's the whole werewolf thing kind of gets in the way. If people at the school find out he's a werewolf, they probably won't respond well to that. But I still think he would be an awesome teacher. I would love to have him for my teacher. I mean, granted, I would also love to take Defense Against the Dark Arts. I think that's probably my favorite. But to be fair, I think that's also partly because, it's Harry's favorite. So it probably made it seem a lot cooler. I mean, I'm sure it is cool, but there's a little bit of suggestion that sometimes there's a possibility that because we were following and seeing everything through Harry's eyes, it made us a little blind and, a little biased to his character's views. So, in History and Magic, although the teacher, Professor Binns, is kind of boring because he's a ghost and he just talks and talks and talks and just... But I love history too. And, Transfiguration will be another class. Okay, but anyway, that is nothing to do with the question. But I did answer the question. Remus Lupin. He would be a teacher I would love to have. Okay, so question number 6. Lunchtime. Which fictional character would you like as a classmate? I tried to include some guys in this one, but I mostly said girls. And that is, I said Hermione from Harry Potter. Again, another Harry Potter answer. Crescent Moon, or Crest, from the Lunar Chronicles. Simon Lewis from the World Instruments, and I had to include Clary Frey, because all these girls are smart. All these characters are very smart, intelligent. They kind of have a geeky, nerdy element to them that I could totally relate to and connect. And they could probably also help me in certain, Crest could help me with certain, computer type stuff. She can always help me, every time I have a problem with technology, then she could probably help me figure it out. And then, because I just saw it, the other day, on one of my days off, I went ahead and included the Losers Club. They seem like such a cool group. And I would just want to take care of them. I would want to protect them from the clown, although I would be just as scared as them. Because I hate clowns. And I think I hated clowns long before I ever discovered it. Because, there was, like, episodes of You're Afraid of the Dark about clowns. There's one that was, like, specifically about clowns. I think it was the second episode of season 2. Or the first episode of not season 2, but season 1 of Are You Afraid of the Dark which was one of my favorite 90s television shows. Well, I guess I should include those two as well. Sorry, thinking about my list again. But, there was an episode, it was called Laughing in the Dark, where they're telling the story, where one of them is telling the story about this kid who steals the nose of a famous clown that died in a funhouse / fire, and the clown basically haunts him wanting to get back his nose and scares the kid to death practically. He doesn't die, but this is a Nickelodeon show back in the 90s, so of course he's not going to die. And then there was that one, and then there was another episode in a later season. I'm trying to remember what it's called. It wasn't actually about a clown, but he was kind of he was a funny, scary villain. Not as in he was so pathetically funny and not scary. It was still creepy to me, but he was like a jester kind of thing. Like, he had a jester's type outfit, and he was a comic book villain, and this kid accidentally brings him out of the comic book world into the real world, and what he does is he will laugh in your face to the point of where you'll go insane, essentially, and there's this little blue spit that comes out of your mouth. It always creeps me out, and now I'm probably going to be thinking about it in bed tonight, because, like, I can see horror movies, and I like getting scared and everything, but then when I go to bed, I end up putting the covers over my head because I start thinking about it. But so, yeah, I think I kind of was scared of clowns before I saw it. Because I discovered it late in life when I was watching the miniseries, and then I started to want to get into Stephen King. And I read the book, which is over 1,000 pages long. So, but anyway, I included the Losers Club because I feel so bad, and I want to protect them. And not just from the clown, but from their parents and their stupid town. That is such a messed up town. I would never want to live in Derry. It is so messed up, and the people just, like, the town is messed up and haunted. But I would want to protect those 7 kids. I feel so bad for them. And I would totally hang out with them at their older selves. I would love to hang out with them. And they seem like, they would grow up to be really cool adults. I know they do because, there's the original movie, technically was a movie, a mini-series back in 1990. I would hang out with them. I would totally hang out with them if, So those are the ones that came to mind. Okay, question number 7. Yearbook. Which character were you most like in high school? Okay, I said Agatha from A School of Good for Good and Evil, and I also included Cress from Lunar Chronicles, because they were both girls are kind of nerdy and shy and very awkward, and that's how I was, and I kept to kind of hid within my friends group. I still kind of do that with my parents. Like, if my parents are there, then I kind of hide behind them, but not as much anymore. As I get older and getting more participatory, because because I am getting older and I'm an adult, they kind of push me more. So but I have anxiety. So I get very anxious. I'm very socially awkward. So I kind of relate to those two in a lot of ways, in that way, at least. Okay. The last question number 8, graduation. Which do you wish you had read? Because I'm so trying really fast while I'm watching the videos where people are doing the tags, I write down the questions. I'm going so fast trying to keep up with them, so I don't miss the question, but I can still hear and listen to their answer. So when I write them down, sometimes I forget words. Which book do you wish you had read in high school? There are a lot of books that I think we could have, like, a lot of books I would have loved to have studied in high school. These are basically all books that I wish we had read. We had, like, it was assigned reading, and then we could study them. Of course, the risk of that is that I might not like those books as much. But I think they deal with a lot of interesting themes to study. I mean, like I said, I included a Song of Ice and Fire series. The risky part about that is there's, like, as I said before, there's a lot of vulgarity in the Song of Ice and Fire series. But so maybe that would be more of a college read, something you would read in college to study. Again, of course, this question also could have meant books that you wish you had read when you were in high school. But I was thinking more along the lines of books that I think I wish we had been assigned to read in high school. So other than A Song of Ice and Fire series, I said Hunger Games and Lord of the Rings. Hunger Games, I think a lot of dystopians, because, come on, we read books like The Giver in 1984 in school. Not everybody reads those. What I think they do, I could be wrong, but I'm guessing what the school board probably does, it takes a handful of books that are meant to be studied in school, and then maybe the schools pick and select the books they want their students to read. I could be wrong, but that is what makes most sense to me. But all these series, I feel like they're all, like, universal. Like, well, maybe not universal necessarily, but they're books that are worth studying in college or high school. And like I said, my other reason for wishing that we had read Lord of the Rings in high school is because maybe it will get me to read it more, actually read it and progress in it. Because I've started it multiple times, it never goes anywhere. But maybe reading it in school would have helped if I read it in high school or even college, and if we studied in college. I guess what they could have said is books you wish you were assigned in high school. If that's what they intended for this question to be about, but like I said, I'm going there with that question. But you can, if you do this tag, interpret it how you want, of course. It's not up to me, so. But that's how I interpret it. Books that I wish we had studied in school. Okay, well, that was the back to school book tag. Or the school book tag, not back to school, the school book tag. Like I said, I will track down and find the original maker of this video, and I will put it on this video. Right. Bye. Night.